Howdy, Fort Bend. William Ferguson here from the beautiful Seth today. I have a special guest for you today, and I know you probably heard his name. And with the elections coming up, I need you to pay attention because today I have the one, the only Mo in the studio. Mo, welcome. Good morning.
Thank you, William. Thank you for giving this opportunity. Thank you.
It's good to see you. You know, Mo, I thought back as I was scheduling this, you've done this for me.
Yes.
And I thank you for that. And it was a help then, and I'm hoping whatever conversation we have today can be a help to you as well.
God willing.
So, Mo, what I wanted to do, I told you a little earlier, sort of my format for this is I'm really interested in knowing what is your deepest thought about your campaign or your mission. And then I'm going to ask you about 3 questions, and those 3 questions are real simple. It's, why you, why now, and ultimately, what are your solutions for the county? Those are really easy. Now, I may have a one-off question that comes because of something you may say that I can highlight, but other than that, I just want us to have a little bit of fun. So thank you for coming today, and what I want to do is jump straight into this and say, Mo, I see your campaign effort everywhere. I've heard you speak. I see your online presence. And what I'm curious of, and maybe every single voter is curious of, what is your deepest motivator? Like, what is making you run? And without that, you're not running. It's your most deep concern or motivator. What are your thoughts?
It would be very easy for me, William. By the way, firstly, thank you so much for giving this opportunity again. It is very fulfilling. It is very important. What you're doing is to get people in front of voters.
Yes, sir.
This is a very good medium.
You're welcome.
So thank you very much. So it would be very selfish of me to just say that I'm doing this just because of my family, for my 3 daughters that I have,
Sure.
for my wife, for all the women that are there in my family, in my extended family. But it's bigger than that. Unfortunately, things have gone the wrong way in United States, in America, and in our state also. And to take it a step further, because I'm running a local race in Fort Bend County. I mean, if you've been a Fort Bender for decades, so you know the change
Yes.
that has happened, good change that
Yes.
has happened since the 90s, the 2000s,
Sure.
the 2010s. And people just started flocking towards Fort Bend County, whether it be from Harris County, whether it be from out of state,
Right.
whether it be from out of country.
Right.
And that is not being preserved right now. And that is not being preserved right now just because of some of the local elected leaders that we have in office.
Wow.
And I totally believe that irrespective of whether you're from Texas or you're from out of Texas or you're from out of the United States and you've made this your home, it's very important to follow the Constitution,
Wow.
whether you like it or not.
Right.
Simple as that. You took your oath when you became a U.S. citizen,
Wow.
as a naturalized U.S. citizen. You took oath that you're going to follow the Constitution, you're going to protect the Constitution, and you're going to do whatever it needs to be done to be aligned with the Constitution. And unfortunately, that is not happening. And I chose this journey not 6 months ago, not a year ago. I chose this journey back in November 2020.
Wow.
When our Republican candidate did not win the sheriff's race. The most qualified individual, the most qualified candidate, hands down, was not able to win for various reasons. And then we got a sheriff that got elected, and it's just been downhill since then. I mean, I moved to Fort Bend County about 8 years ago from West Harris County for the simple reason of safety and security.
Sure.
For my 3 daughters who were growing up and
Sure.
one who was just born at that time. And that is not the case anymore. I mean, I see Fort Bend County, most of Fort Bend County, becoming a replica of Harris County. And I can be the person who sits and complains to you and to everybody I talk to, or I can actually do something about it. And I chose to do something about it. I have the experience as a business leader, as a business owner, as a police officer. I have the knowledge about what's going on in Fort Bend County and in Texas at large. And I just think that we need to have leaders in place who forget for a bit about themselves and think about the people, because people are the ones who are your important stakeholders who are going to get you or break you. And in my best interest and in the interest of the people, I will do whatever it takes for the majority of the people and not for the few elected officials countywide who
Right.
try to use you as puppet
Right.
to do whatever is there on your agenda. I'm definitely not one of them. I mean, if you've seen or read anything about my record and the police agencies that I
Sure.
work for and so forth, I'm a big supporter of First Amendment. I'm a big supporter of free speech, religion, freedom of, whatever faith you want to practice or you don't want to practice.
Right. Right.
And largely the Second Amendment. Second Amendment is, while I'm not a gun nut guy, I mean,
And I am.
yeah, you are. The comparison is not there.
Right, right.
You are over here and I'm over here
Right.
when it comes to firearms. But I have firearms. I have firearms as a resource, as a tool, and definitely not for hunting. And that is not what the Second Amendment is about. The Second Amendment is not about you to have guns so that you can go hunt.
I agree.
The Second Amendment is there so that
I
you
agree.
can protect yourself and your family and your communities against tyranny, that the government, tries to turn on you.
And it comes.
And it comes.
Yes.
I mean, look at the situations in the last 3 years that we've had.
Yes.
And we have a local sheriff over here who, a couple of months ago, right after Christmas, before Christmas, did an interview with Channel 2, I believe, and said, owning a firearm is a privilege. I mean, how can it be a privilege? You are going totally against the Second Amendment and the Constitution of the United States. And that is the craziest, statement that I've heard,
I was absolutely amazed when I read that anybody that puts their hand up and swears a oath to the Constitution would ever use the word privilege as it relates to any right. So, absolutely agree with you on that point.
And that's the whole thing, William. I mean, when the Constitution was made for the people, by the people, and when certain leaders, elected officials, try to twist the words, actually, just kind of give a false statement altogether, not even twisting words,
Right.
is really surprising and amazing that these are the kind of individuals that we have in elected offices. And, I want to go ahead and share this with you, too. I believe it's very important for candidates who are running for offices not run for an office as a career and run to do the best that they can do for the people of their community, whether it's their city or, county or state.
Sure.
But I in the last 5 years that I have been in local politics, I've seen, there are only 20% of individuals like that. The other 80% are usually, basically to substitute an income
Sure.
or basically have a new career in politics after they've reached the age of 60, 65, 70,
Well, that ends when you become a school board trustee because there's nothing there, or a city council member, most of which make little to nothing.
Right.
And it's out of love. So our founding fathers really early established that. And I remember men like John Adams. They had their business, and then they went away to Washington, and it was a economic challenge for them while they were in Washington. And then over time, they've approved themselves ridiculous benefits. And I don't want to digress, but so not to get off of that subject too much, I'm going to bring you back. So why Mo? Why Mo?
So, very good question. Thank you. Why Mo? So, definitely what matters is experience. And when you're running as a candidate for a sheriff's office, it's not a police agency only. It's a business organization. There are multiple divisions in it. You got to make sure, not necessarily that it's profitable, but you got to make sure that you're not dipping too much into the multiple funds that you have. As an individual who has co-managed businesses for the last 20 years of my life, whether it be with Fortune 500 companies like Verizon or, small to medium-sized businesses of my own family, I have that experience to make sure that the organizations run smoothly. You have a budget, you're within the budget. If you're not going to be within the budget, then make sure that you actually
Right.
get the budget approved,
Right.
whether it's, CAPEX budget, sorry for jargon, capital expense budget, to make sure that everything is done in line to whatever rules and regulations are there of the commissioner's
Sure.
court. While I have 10 years as a police officer, half of it was reserve and half of it was full time.
Sure.
I did the full time not because I wanted to make extra money, but I did full time because I wanted to see how it is to go to work as a police officer for 5-6 days a week versus as a reserve I was doing maybe 2 or 3. I started off my career with Harris County Sheriff's Office as a reserve and worked pretty much 2,000 hours the first year that I was there.
Wow.
Almost 80 hours shy of a full-time
Wow.
deputy. So why me is because, A, I can do it. And I'm not saying this just because you can actually go verify
Right.
my business records or my business experience. 2, I have the police experience. 3, I am the most non-political candidate in this race. And I am the only candidate in this race that other candidates and the left party knows that I have the best shot as a conservative Republican candidate to win in November.
Wow.
I mean, there have been so many things that have been happening in these last 13, 14 months when we've not even passed through the primary yet.
Right.
But, the left has done a few things that will, surprise you that make no sense, but to only kind of put hurdles and derail, my campaign.
Right.
And at the end of the day, look at Fort Bend County. I don't like to actually use the word diverse because that word has been hijacked by the
Sure.
other party and
I hear it all the time.
and use that to the benefits of how they want to use people.
Sure.
But I don't know if you know this or not. There are almost 900,000 people in Fort Bend County. 300,000 of them have been born and raised in Fort Bend County, maybe for generations.
Right.
The other 300,000 have been born outside of Texas.
Wow.
Or outside of Fort Bend County. The last 300,000 are born outside of United States.
Isn't that something?
So, we have a good mix of individuals, If I would say, and I believe in experience, qualifications, I believe in all of that. And I have the qualifications and I have the experience. I am an active peace officer with the state of Texas, which
Yes.
is the minimum requirement for you to be a candidate for sheriff. But if you don't get past the primary and if you don't have the best shot in November, then all the qualifications, all the experience, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah. Good point.
It's all about electability. It's all about electability. It's all about you go in front of the communities where you're not comfortable. I mean, you have seen this. Few of your viewers may have seen this. I mean, I try to, plug myself into communities that I'm not comfortable with or I'm not from, But usually we try to go into communities or go to parties or go to events where I already know I have 5 friends over there or I know 5 people. No, I go into communities, whether it's the Hispanic community, the Asian American community, whether it's, the African community, whether it's the Middle Eastern community. I mean, people just think that, because it's the Middle Eastern community, you're really comfortable. No, you're not, I mean, this because as working for, as a councilman, you go,
Sure.
I mean, it's not easy conversations that you can have,
Don't know a language, don't know a religion, don't know, the
culture,
list goes on and on.
I mean, the list goes on and on,
Sure.
exactly. But you have to put yourself in front of those individuals because ultimately they are the ones who are going to be your constituents. They're the ones who are the voters. They are the ones who are your stakeholders. Right. I mean, ultimately, of course, my goal is to win. Sure. But, during that course, I want to build relationships. I want to build, a network of people who are like-minded. I will be a fool if I told you I want 100% support behind me. And if you see 100% support behind any candidate, you know this very well because you've been involved in politics for a long time, that there's something wrong with the candidate.
Something's wrong. If everybody's loving you, there's something wrong.
There's something wrong. So I just believe that I have the best shot for the sheriff's race when it comes to November because, again, it's all about electability. I have this resume which is diverse, which has business experience, which has law enforcement experience, which has local community experience, which has local politics experience. It's all needed. Mm-hmm. It's all needed to be successful. And, people need to see that.
So you have said a lot, and I like how complete your statements are. You've almost already answered question number 2, and that is why now. You've highlighted the the concerns you have with the current sheriff's department and other, I've got to be careful using my words sometimes, but other people that have sworn to the Constitution. You've done really well with that. So I'm going to skip to your third question. I think your third question is most relevant right now. If you were to highlight three, I'm just going to use three, two or three. I don't want to keep you all day, but what three solutions do you feel like you can bring? There's going to be more, but your three most important solutions you want to bring to what you see in Fort Bend County as it relates to the Sheriff's Department.
So, thank you for asking the question. I mean, my platform is based on 3 points, 3 items, which are elaborative. Perfect. So the very first one is restoring law and order in Fort Bend County.
Thank you.
When you compare it to 8 years ago, and I'm going to use the 8-year comparison because that's when I moved from West Harris County, it's deteriorated completely, especially in the unincorporated areas of Fort Bend County.
I agree.
Number 2, increase the number of deputies in the jail facility and in patrol.
Sure.
And I'm going to add on to say that, the lack of deputies that we have is not because of pay, because the pay has always been pretty much the same when you compare with municipalities or with school systems. However, the previous sheriffs who have been for 8 years, 16 years, deputies did not leave in droves because they knew that they liked the culture, they liked the leadership. And if it was a few dollars less per hour, they would still stay. But now, deputies are leaving in droves because the culture and leadership is not there.
Right.
I mean, 155 deputies that I know of as of September 30th, because the December 31st report has not come out yet. 155 deputies short. That's a combination of patrol and across all the divisions. And number 3 is improve the standards of the county jail. A lot of us don't know that the primary responsibility of the sheriff is the custodian of the county jail and then provide security to the court of laws or the district courts. And that is the first commitment that the elected sheriff, has to meet. Unless that commitment is not met, you can't do any of the secondary duties, that is patrol or enforcement or proactive policing, none of that, because you don't have bodies.
Right.
And that is my goal, to hit these 3 items, beginning when I, God willing, get elected, and to have a good standing, on the 91st day in office.
Wow. So I couldn't agree with you more about staffing. One of the things that, if I may, to offer a comparison or a contrast, in Sugarland, we are usually staffed at 102%. And if we have a vacancy, there's usually about 150 that are applying. And it is primarily, we lead with respect of our employees. Yesterday was an example of that. If you didn't see what our city did on behalf of a fallen public works employee, respect, pay, benefits, training, it is all important on maintaining or retaining the best. And to all the Fort Bend deputies out there, we'd love to meet them if they ever want to come over. But anyhow, I digress. Sorry, I shouldn't say that. So, Mo, what I would love to do, because you were thorough, thank you. That was a lot of information. What I would like you to do is literally look at our voters, and I want you to tell them how they can help you, and whatever that may be, whether it's communication, whether it's volunteer, whatever it is, donations, whatever it is, tell our viewers how they can help you and how they can get in touch with you.
Sure. So you can visit me on my website, which is monehad.com. I'm on Facebook. All you can do is just look up Mo Nehad. Same thing for Instagram. Same thing for YouTube. What I'm requesting you and what I'm asking of you is please look me up. Do your research. I'm not going to ask you to just blindly vote for me because that's very sacred in my opinion. But please do your due diligence. Look me up. Do your research. Once you do your research, I'm an optimistic individual. I know that you're going to like me. And once you like me, I would love your support. And not just from you, from at least 10 people in your network, whether it be your own family, your extended family, your neighbors, or people that you work for. Secondly, of course, donations and contributions go a long way. I would love for you to, contribute to our campaign. You can do that too. There's a link over there on my website too to donate. And then early voting starts February 20th, which is Tuesday. I would love to have you contact me, and you can call me. My phone number is 713-449-1448, or you can email me. That's mo@monehad.com. And I'm really looking for individuals that can help me at 9 polling locations. And I'm looking for someone to cover in the morning, the 2 hours from 7 to 9 a.m., and then to cover in the evening from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's Monday through Saturday. Sunday is going to be not an off day, but we're just going to go ahead and get some other volunteers who have already kind of committed to it. But if you can do that, if you can look me up, I would really appreciate it. And if I want to close out with this, if you want to have an individual, if you want to have an elected sheriff who is going to stand by the Constitution, who's going to do what is right by the people of Fort Bend County, who is not going to be, directed or managed by someone else, then I am your candidate. I'm not a politician. This is not my career. I'm not doing it for a pay. You can look this up too. Our family owns a couple of businesses, so money is not the reason that is motivating me to do what I am doing and what our team is doing, what we're doing. It's about you, and it's only about the people of Fort Bend County. So, there it is.
Wow, your mission is strong. And so volunteers, as you were calling for volunteers, I think it's important that they understand their role here. In getting a candidate into office, their role is nearly priceless, because the candidate cannot be everywhere at every time. So I'm glad you did that. Some candidates don't know how to ask for that help. And donations are certainly help pay for your signs and everything going on. So, and it's also a commitment from the voter. If they'll contribute any amount, they're contributing, they're investing in their decision. So thank you, Mo. Best of luck to you. Thank you for, like I've told another candidate the other day, he said, I raised my hand. Essentially, I want to help solve the problem. And that's essentially what you're doing with your life. You're stepping up on the front line and you're saying, hey, I want to help solve these problems. So keep it up. So to you, our viewers, howdy, Fort Bend, and I hope you have a blessed day. We'll see you soon at the polls.
Thank you, William.